Welcome back to the Boneyard Podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Sheffield, along with my good friend,
Artemis Brower.
We're coming to you this week with episode 239. 239. Artemis.
You.
How we doing, my brother?
We're good, man. We're good. We're a little tired. We got another trip out to San Diego. Booyaka. 619.
I need you to post on your I need you to post on your story like the landing, like the like
as I'm coming through the city, because literally it feels like you're flying through the buildings.
I've never been there. It's about the only place in California I haven't been to, and it's about the only place in California that I really care to go to.
Beautiful place. I will say, and that's not even me trying to hype it up. It's a beautiful place. It's
like everywhere else in California. Look, me and California, we just don't mix. I don't fit in California. If you catch my drift, I'll never forget the guys asking me when I worked out there. Artie, let me ask you. Now, this may be a two Americas thing. Maybe it's not.
Okay.
When you were going through spelling tests, and I'm guessing it was second or third grade, and you were learning how to spell all the states and the great country of the United States of America, how did you learn how to spell Mississippi?
MISSISSIPP.
Okay, yes. You know how they taught us in Davidson County, North Carolina? Mind you, at this time, at this time, Artie, I believe the state of North Carolina was like 47th in student expenditure per pupil, meaning out of 50, ECU or North Carolina, ECU, North Carolina was 47 out of 50 in how much they spent per student on education.
Saying we didn't care about y'all.
There's 100 counties in the state of North Carolina, and of those 100 counties, Davidson County, believe it or not, was number 100.
No, that's not hard to believe. And I love the good people of Davidson County, but that's not hard to believe.
And I distinctly remember Miss Barrier. God, I love that woman. One of the best teachers I ever had. Teaching our class. M-I, crooked letter, I. Crooked letter, I. Humpback, I. I see Brandon texting us. He knows. Maybe that's a two Americas thing.
Look, maybe it is, because I've heard that before, but actually teaching that in class is criminal. That confused me more as a child. Like, why would you do that? Don't do that.
That's how we didn't do MISSISSIPPI. We couldn't talk that fast, Artie. So, good old Northwest Elementary School.
What's the better alternative?
The crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I. And then, so I was in California working, and I was out there with all these California guys, and I was writing on the board, on a whiteboard, and I was writing Mississippi. And I was saying that to myself. That's because that's how I remember it. M-I, crooked letter, I. And they were like, what the hell are you saying?
I hope they ridiculed you.
They were like, what the hell is that?
I know this grown-ass man is not out here saying M-I, crooked letter. What are you doing?
This guy went to college? Yep. But yeah, no.
That's funny.
All right, Artie. Episode 239 of the Boneyard Podcast. Do you have a 39? I know we talked about your 39 before we hopped on.
I do have a 39. Yes, I do. A position that's really dead. I mean, there may be a few left in the league, but kind of a position is dead. That's one fullback Larry Sonka of the NFL played running back and fullback, mind you, but was widely regarded as an excellent fullback. Was part of the Super Bowl championship teams, and I believe the Miami Dolphins was on that Super Bowl championship team. Was also a commentator on the original run of American Gladiators, which was a phenomenal show back in the day. I like the reboot, honestly, because obviously I'm not old enough to see the original American Gladiators. But when they had the reboot back in 2008, 2009, I watched American Gladiators. I liked it. But he was on
for some reason we had a bunch of American Gladiators VHSs.
Really?
That's also maybe another Davidson County type thing.
I mean, I hear that was the show back in the day. I watched.
I love American Gladiators.
Documentary on it. It seemed like it was controversial, but yeah, that was definitely the show back in the day. But yeah, Larry Sonka.
That is where CTE began.
I don't know. pro boxing and football. American Gladiators beat on that.
I don't know. Those three combined are like just all those guys, all those gals juicing. Love me some American Gladiators. I wanted to do it.
Now that would have been something I would have signed up for. Absolutely.
I would have done it. Like I would have been
whether I got my ass handed to me or not.
I would have. I most definitely would have gotten my ass handed to me.
Yeah, look like fun.
But yeah, like I think was it you and I that were talking about mat ball in middle school?
Oh yeah, with the rug burns and the.
Yeah, like they just let us go.
Knees go home looking raw.
We
Absolutely
just
raw knees and elbows.
People were getting choked out on the mat, just tackled, bloody.
That and what was the things we did on the scooters? You had little floor scooters. Yeah. That was dangerous. You catch a finger on one of those things. Whew.
I always loved. We would do it once a year. We would play hockey, and I was the only kid that played hockey growing up, and so I was just dusting everybody, playing floor hockey. Love that. That was my sport. I could show people up all day playing hockey. Sonk.
Also, obviously, Hall of Famer, Miami Dolphins Hall of Famer, two-time champion. He's still the all-time leading rusher in Dolphins history, by the way. Larry Sonka, 78 years old. Shout out to him.
78 years old. Still kicking. You also forgot San Diego Chargers great Danny Woodhead.
Did he wear 39?
He did wear 39.
Wow, he was also a fullback.
Anyways, I'm gonna go with mine. Mine is, I promise you, it's not chalk. I know it's a Carolina Hurricane. I know you said that anytime I pick a Carolina Hurricane, it's chalk. This is not chalk. I promise you. Played a 7-year career in the NHL, all 7 years with the Carolina Hurricanes. Number 39, forward, Patrick Dwyer. Right wing. Played 416 games in the NHL, 42 goals, 51 assists. Look, didn't really accomplish anything outside of that, outside of making it to the NHL. Was drafted in the 4th round. This is telling you Atlanta Thrashers, drafted by the Atlanta Thrashers, now the Winnipeg Jets, but no, made it to the National League with Carolina in the 08-09 season. And then he was just kind of part of those teams that weren't very good for the Hurricanes after that 08-09 run. I mean, the Hurricanes honestly were the worst team in the league most of those years. One of the worst teams in the league most of those years. Honestly, they were kind of like my Falcons. They were just good enough not to get a high lottery pick, but they were bad enough to never make the playoffs. So shout out to him being a staple of those teams.
Just
Say
the
that again.
The Falcons just stay between 11 and 15. Just poor Falcons. Like they're never in the top 10. They're never in the bottom half. They're just right there in the middle. Just middle.
I mean, you've got a couple top 10 draft picks on the offense now. I mean, you got Drake London, Bijan, and of course Michael Penix. Kyle Pitts might have been.
Yeah, I now I think about
top 10
pick. Yeah.
So you got like you
not working out.
You got some decent. I think this is Pitts' year.
It better be. It has to be.
I think
you draft a guy top 10 in the draft, and he's not putting up all pro numbers, or at least Pro Bowl level numbers.
That's the thing. All of your skill guys on offense are drafted in the top 10 of the draft, for the most part.
No, not all of your skill guys.
I'm talking about for the Falcons right now. They are. Your quarterback is, your running back is, and Kyle Pitts. He's listed as a tight end. He's kind of on the verge of a wide receiver, and then Drake London.
He's got to step up though. But Drake, I have faith in Drake London. He's got to do a little bit more for me, but I got faith in London. Obviously, Bijan's a stud. I believe in Penix.
I think
Penix going to show up.
I think with an accurate quarterback, you're going to see Kyle Pitts and Drake London explode this year. And look, I already think that Drake London is a borderline. And I'm being a little reserved here. I would say top 15 wide receiver in the league right now.
He's fringe. He's fringe top 15. He's fringe. He's good. He's almost there.
I mean, last year was his real first breakout year.
Right. Because he definitely showed flashes of what he can be. So y'all still gonna lose to the Bake Show though. Y'all playing second fiddle to the Bake Show. I don't care.
No.
Bake Show.
Now that we got the defense shored up, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
It'll be nice.
All right. Let's get into it. ECU baseball. I thought for sure we would get that one. I thought for sure ECU would go in to Wichita, Kansas, and at least win the series. They didn't. They went 1-2 on the weekend, lost to the 13-win Wichita State Shockers, dropping the first and the third game. I'm past this season already. I'm just ready to go. It's like the squirrel that my dog caught in the backyard a couple weeks ago. Watching it take its last final breaths in agonizing pain, I'm just ready for it to end.
Oh God! Oh no, is that true? Did you actually watch this squirrel take its last breath? Was it still alive?
Yeah, Ficklin got him one.
Well, Ficklin, man,
Ficklin's wild, man. Ficklin's an absolute monster.
I'll catch your bodies. All right.
I was doing the laundry. This was the morning of the spring game. I was getting the laundry out, and I let the dogs out, and then I was pulling laundry out of the dryer, and I saw him kind of running around, and I saw him throwing his head up. What he was doing was throwing the squirrel in the air and letting it come back down.
I'm sorry. That's funny as hell. Like,
this dog was just throwing it up like it was a chew toy.
I hope we don't have no like. I mean, I know we got pet lovers watching. I'm a pet lover myself, but like that's hilarious.
Look, he's a
squirrel.
hunting dog. Like, well, that's what he does.
Oh my goodness. Whew.
That's what he does. He got it cornered, and then like I had to like shimmy shake him away from it. I squirted him with the water hose to get him away from it. And then yeah, I had to end up putting it out of its misery, but no. Where's this podcast going, man? This podcast is off the rails already.
Look, it's Wednesday night. We done had a long week already. It's been a long day. We just out here talking. But that's a great analogy, though. To get back on topic, ECU baseball 27-21 overall, 11-10 in conference, and we talked last week. Like, if you're going to do anything to salvage this season, what's left of the remainder of this season, to try to put yourself in a good standing, going into a gauntlet of the last two series with Campbell squeezed in between there. You got to find a way to sweep this series. Not only did we not sweep, we didn't win the series, we lost the series. So 1-2 against one of the worst programs in the country, with only 13 wins coming into this series. It's a wash. It's a wash. Still support, still show up. Everything is the same, right? Like, the sky's not falling. This program's not going to just fall into irrelevancy after this. But this season's a wash. It is what it is. We have to go through these growing pains to learn from this. But yeah, nothing's gonna. If we're out here losing series to Wichita State, nothing is gonna come from that. So
yeah, look, I don't have like I see in the notes, and shout out intern Darius putting together the notes this week with Josh is we're giving Josh some time off for the next couple of weeks while he studies for his test. But yeah, the notes ask, is there anything that we can do to salvage this season? I mean, yeah, you go on a miraculous run and you somehow sneak into the tournament. Season is salvaged there. It's a moral victory. You're not going to Omaha, which Omaha is. Omaha's the goal every single year,
for
right?
this program, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to be where you're at now, I'm not going to say it sets you back years. It doesn't, because this team has shown potential. And I've said it all year long. This team needs, and I say this in a way that I know it may be misconstrued, but this team needs to grow up, right? You got a bunch of youngins on this team. They need to mature into the winners and the champions that have walked the grounds of Clark LeClaire Stadium. So that's going to happen. Cliff Godwin's going to get them right. Yep. It's a down year. We've had down years before. We've come back and haven't missed a beat other than that year. I don't see ECU really struggling to grow moving forward. There's the talent's there. It's just putting it all together as a team next year and years beyond that. Use the portal. Cliff, if you're listening, use the portal.
Use the portal. And like you mentioned, this team has to grow. You take a season like this and you let it hurt you. You let that pain, you let the disappointment, you let the regret build all off season. You work your ass off, you come back, you grind, and you come back and show people, okay, what happened last year was an anomaly, and we're going to come back and show you what we're really about, with a more experienced team, with a team that understands growing pains, understands loss, which is very important if you're going to be something special, to understand what it feels like to lose, and sometimes lose consistently. So that's best case scenario. And like you said, we have Godwin at the helm, so I'm really not worried. It's just a really bad year.
I agree. It sucks because after the high of football season and then basketball has honestly their best season in 50 years. You're like, okay, we're back to being an athletic school. We're back to being a sports school. And then your number one program, your prized possession, ECU baseball, comes out and doesn't have the year that we would hope. Granted, we all had an idea that this was going to be the case. Mm-hmm. We didn't think it was going to be as bad as it is. And we're talking about this in ECU is still 6 games over 500.
Exactly. It's not like we're sitting 6 games under 500. We're talking about this with a program that's still 6 games over 500. So like you do have to put it into perspective. Like a terrible season at ECU is still us well above 500. So
it's still a winning season now. Granted, you to make sure that it stays a winning season, you've got to win. You got to steal 2 against South Florida or UTSA somehow, some way, and then you put some doubt into the teams going into the conference tournament. Put some doubt. If you can find a way, and this is me. I know somebody called me the most pessimistic person in around ECU media, but if you put your optimist glasses on, you find a way to win 5 out of 6 of your remaining conference games. You're going to start putting some doubt into some of those teams going to the conference tournament. Oh shit! Daddy woke up. What, Artie?
No, I just laughing at the comment, man.
I'm on one tonight.
I love it.
Anything else on baseball? Anything that I missed?
No.
I don't know. Anyways, ECU softball. They just got the win. This is a live reaction. ECU softball gets the win in the first round over Memphis 7-1. They will play the 3rd seeded Charlotte 49ers at 2:30 tomorrow. Emma Jackson, she homered twice in the game. Sorry, this is just coming through. Yeah. Look, this team this team, not many people I don't think really expected much out of them coming into the season, but they've shown glimpses of putting together some pretty good runs throughout the season, and they're super explosive. And I know Jason Hamilton said something along those lines earlier this week about how, yes, they exceeded expectations to a lot of people, but that's what makes him frustrated, that he knows that they have more to give, and they could have been even better than what they were. Look, they're the 6th seed in the conference tournament. Like I said, they beat Memphis tonight, and then they swept North Texas over the weekend. But if they can start putting something together this week in the conference tournament, they may make a run at the championship game.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is a run, quality run, up and down season, obviously, but 72 home runs, that stands out. I mean, that's tied for most in a season with this softball program. So like you said, they're explosive. They can crack the bats. They can get the offense going when they need to. All it takes is one quality run.
72 home runs this season, which is tied for first or tied for the most all time in ECU history for softball. 72 big flies. Shout out to those ladies. Morgan Johnson, the first baseman, named a first team all conference. And that's only the 2nd time that a Pirate has been named a first team all conference.
That's dope.
And then Emma Jackson, that we mentioned, homer twice. Annie Kate Dalton, the catcher, both also were named to the second team. And then Kendall Frost was named to the third team all conference. So shout out, ladies. Look, ECU women's soccer, ECU softball, ECU women's basketball, they've all come up clutch at times. Lacrosse made a deep run here recently in the conference tournament, made it to the semifinals, I believe. Like, do not sleep on the Pirates. We can still run this conference in just about anything. Mark my words.
Show up and compete.
When and where. When and where. All right, Artie. Moving along. So this week, ECU Athletic Director John Gilbert put out one of his From the Helm, one of his kind of updates about Pirate Athletics. And in there, he talked a lot about the House versus NCAA settlement, which is essentially a way to pay back for damages to former athletes, and also moving forward opens the door for like revenue sharing between universities and the student athletes. And he talked a lot about like what ECU is doing and how like it's going to change things. I mean, we're talking, there's going to be new scholarship limits for all athletics across the board. That they're going to have new limits on how many scholarships you can give per sport, all those things. Now, in the past, university administrators or personnel couldn't give to NIL. Now they can. And the university can now share revenue amongst its athletes in the form of NIL. And this I'm gonna talk about the first part of it. This is something that the American Athletic Conference has been preparing for, right? We know, what was it, about 2 months ago? New American Athletic Conference Commissioner Tim Pernetti announced that, hey, we need a revenue sharing model for the American Athletic Conference. The first 3 years, starting the 25-26 academic year, that's the first year of a 3-year kind of plan. Over those 3 years, the universities have to give at least, and I'm putting that exclamation on at least, $10 million over those 3 years to their student athletes. And if you don't do that, you may face penalties, even meaning being kicked out of the conference. So the American Athletic Conference is really trying to be at kind of the forefront of that. Artie, what are your thoughts on kind of the future of this new model?
Yeah, I mean, I like where his head is at. I like that the conference is trying to get ahead of this because they understand the landscape. They understand what's happening. And these things have to be legislated. The players absolutely need to be paid, should be paid, but it has to be legislated. It can't be like the Wild Wild West, which is kind of how it's sitting right now, right? Like you've kind of have some disproportionate things going on across the entire landscape. And that's going to take years and to iron out the kinks and all of that. But stepping in the right direction to legislate this, now shared institutional revenue is huge. Now that the schools can actually get involved, administrators can actually get involved with this, how it should be. And then obviously I do like the minimum, right? Like there's not a cap. You can obviously spend what you need to spend on NIL, but I do like the conference saying, hey, look, if we're going to try to compete at the highest levels in this new landscape, if we're going to try to keep up, at least keep up, then you've got to be able to meet this kind of minimum. You've got to be able to spend these kind of things. You've got to be able to have this kind of revenue sharing going on with your program. It does kind of put the pressure on not your bigger programs in the American, but kind of your middle of the pack, lesser known programs in the American. It's like, okay, if we're gonna maintain in this landscape, we've got to be able to at least do this. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great initiative, and I like that the American is trying to step out in front of this, just try to legislate these things going forward.
Yeah, I like that the American's trying to be the first at it. Look, each conference is going to have their own set of rules.
It's just going to happen.
Right. And I think there are going to be schools out there that aren't willing to fork over the kind of money to their athletes that are going to require that to remain competitive with the other power conferences, right? And you're gonna see. It would not surprise me if the SEC comes out and they're like, okay, I'm throwing a number out there, 50 million, right? And then the ACC's out here saying, okay, 30 million, right? That would not surprise me at all if you start seeing numbers.
And there's going to be a hierarchy. There's going to be a pecking order. Obviously, the SEC, Big Ten are going to be by themselves in terms of this. As far as the money they're shelling, I mean, Texas alone, my God, I saw their numbers the other day, like what they're spending on their NIL. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a pecking order to us, but there's got to be legislation.
Yeah, but I think it will open up the door because you're going to start seeing almost like a relegation model, right, of schools that aren't willing to pay certain amounts being kicked out of their conference, and then them needing to fill that spot with another school that is willing to pay that.
And you really find out who's about it or not, like who's really serious about their athletic programs going forward into this new landscape, and who's like, we're
and let's make no bones about it. For the majority of D1 schools in the country, a lot of their revenue generated comes because of athletics.
Yes, a lot, a vast majority.
So you're going to see schools that have to take this really seriously and really take a look at it. And you're going to see there's going to be schools that are going to surprise you that aren't able to or aren't willing to spend that money. And there's 13 out of the 15 institutions in the American Athletic Conference that are going to have to do the 10 million. And from my understanding, it's 10 million whether you're in Olympic sports only school or whether it's you're a full member, right? I'm talking Olympic sports only, like the Wichita States of the world, right? They're still going to have to fork over 10 million, even though they don't have football. Are they going to be willing to do that? Not playing football. The only two schools that don't have to do it, Army and Navy, they don't have to abide by it because Army and Navy those athletes cannot receive NIL deals. They can't receive money for playing a sport at college. So that's why they're outside of it. Yeah, it's a wild world, and I'm not worried about ECU being able to afford $10 million over 3 years. ECU is one of the more profitable universities when it comes to athletics in the group of five, and definitely in the American Athletic Conference. Believe it or not, they are.
Especially if the results on the field maintain or increase the way they need to.
And that leads to my second point, Artie. Now it is even more important than ever to support the program. Win or lose, I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, I'm not going to buy tickets to a game knowing this team's going to go 4-8," which I don't think ECU is going to go 4-8 this year. I'm just going to say that right now. I think ECU's ceiling is much higher than that. But when you do have a down year, it means, hey, you still need to go. We as fans still need to go and give money to the program. Buy your tickets directly from the program, not a third party like Ticketmaster or Game Time or whatever, and do it that way so that the university is bringing in that revenue. And overall being able to give that money back to its athletes, because this $10 million, it's not a cap ceiling. It's a cap floor. Minimum. You can give more than that. Now, do I expect the schools to be willing to give more than $10 million? I don't. But if you really want to play ball and want to be the top program in your conference, you're going to have to. At some point, you're going to have to be willing to spend money. And ECU has set themselves up in a way to be able to do that. So, yeah, that's that, Artie. All of that to say, support the program. Continue to donate to the Pirate Club. Continue to donate as much as you can, as much as you are able and willing to. Right? Let me make that clear. We're not gonna donation shame. Whether it's $10 or it's $100 or it's $1,000, whatever you can give, the university will accept. And when you can, support the programs, even when it's hard to support those programs at times.
Right.
Okay.
We're not out here pocket watching. That's what we're not going to do. However, if you can get on Twitter and talk shit about the program, that means you care, which means you can donate a little bit to the program and show up for the program. So,
for sure. All right. Well, Artie, anything else? I don't have anything else. Walk the plank.
What would my walk the plank be? I guess the only thing, and I'm not really like upset about it. I just think it was kind of weird, and I'm glad Darius put it in the notes. The whole Justin Tucker release thing with the Ravens was just kind of weird. We don't have all the details yet. I think the Ravens are trying to get out in front of it, obviously. But what to me is the explanation. It was a football decision to get rid of Justin Tucker, which obviously was not a football decision to get rid of Justin Tucker. Obviously, I know he had the worst year of his professional career, but we're talking about a first ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest kicker in the history of the National Football League. And we've had quite a few Hall of Fame kickers. To say that he got released because of a football decision, even if he had a bad year, you give that kind of guy the benefit of the doubt because he's a Hall of Famer. So that was kind of wishy-washy to me. That was kind of okay, whatever. Don't insult my intelligence, Baltimore Ravens. You got rid of him because of the allegations, not because of football. So,
am I missing what? Maybe I'm late to this. Maybe what are the allegations?
Sexual misconduct against, I believe it's up to 15 massage. The same stuff just think Deshaun Watson.
Gotcha. Okay, now that you say that, I do remember seeing that somewhere.
Which
and then of course Deshaun Watson got the bag, and then this guy's getting kicked. Look,
I understand if the Ravens are trying to get out in front of it. I understand if
you did it, if you did it, you're a piece of shit.
don't insult my intelligence and say it's a football decision.
Yeah.
It's just not a football decision.
Falcons could use them.
Stop it.
Stop well, hey, look, they were all over Deshaun Watson.
Stop it.
Back when he was going through his process, I was having to come to terms that Deshaun Watson might be the Falcons starting quarterback.
Well, y'all dodged one on that one.
Yeah.
You dodged one on that one. But that would be my water play for the week. If I had one, that would be mine. Just caveat, because we don't know all the details yet. I'm not saying he's guilty. However, if it does come out that he actually did these things, what a scumbag! Like absolute scum of the earth. So
you can't do that.
It's just fucking weird. So, but we don't know. I'm not accusing nothing. I'm not handing out a guilty verdict.
Look, if 15, 16 people are coming out, all of the same profession,
the odds are kind of stacked. It's kind of
saying you did this to them. Odds are you probably did it, but innocent until proven guilty.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. Also, I'll say, what the hell was going on with what is it? Tyrese Halliburton's dad going after Giannis.
Yeah, that was. I mean, first off,
what was that?
First off, you should never approach a man that's at least 2 feet taller than you.
No,
like at least 2 feet taller than you. Should never do that. Don't do that. Just don't. It's not going to end well for you. Just don't do that. Your pride means nothing. Where you come from means nothing. Don't approach a man that's 2 feet taller than you. That's just dumb. But I don't. To me, that was idiotic. And then what Tyrese had to go and apologize to his dad in the press conference made it even worse. And it's like
when he apologized to his dad or apologized
to Giannis in the organization. Excuse me. Had to apologize for his dad in the press conference. I mean, he's a glorified fan at the end of the day. I know he's the father of an NBA player, but a glorified fan should not be allowed on the basketball court at the end of a highly contested playoff game, approaching one of the best players in your league. That should not be allowed.
That'd be like if just don't during the storming of the field at the Military Bowl, Kane Hauser's dad ran up to Dave Dorn and just gave him a double middle finger.
Did that actually happen?
No.
Oh,
no. God, no. Okay. No. I said that would be like.
Yes. All right.
Jeez, Artie, you're going to get us in trouble. No, that did not happen, people. That did not happen.
All right.
Jesus.
I didn't hear the first part of what you said. I'm sorry.
No. Nobody, to my knowledge, got in Dave Doran's face and gave him a double middle finger, even though they should.
I was about to say, would I applaud it?
Absolutely. But the Yannick Smith step back. I don't know that I have one.
Yeah, you should be happy, man. Your Canes won overtime yesterday.
Look, for the first 50 minutes of that game, I was really annoyed because the Canes dominated the Capitals in game one. They just absolutely came into their house and dominated them in all facets of the game. The Hurricanes could have won that game 7-1, and I would not have been surprised. They hit 5 posts, or 3 posts and 2 crossbars. They were beating the goalie. They were getting decent shots. They took, I think they were plus 30 in shots on the Capitals last night. And the possession numbers are just absolutely insane. And that's the Hurricanes game. I'll say, and I see a lot of people talking about the Hurricane style is boring. And I know I've said things about that in the past. They're not this, they're going to like grind you down.
Flash.
They're fast, but they're going to grind you down, right? Part of that being fast is they're just going to outwork you, right? They don't need a sniper all the time to absolutely bury every shot that they take. Right? They're going to take a bunch of shots and grind you down and get you tired before you know what to do. And then you're just up shit's creek without a paddle.
Mm.
And that's what they did last night to the Capitals. Capitals end up making a mental mistake. Can't clear the puck. Kotkaniemi gives it to my boy Stankoven doing the stanky leg. Ties it up. 10 minutes to go in the third period. But I say all that to say, Artie, usually like I'm like jumping up and down. I'm screaming. I'm yelling. I'm like the entire game last night. I had this like, I was, like I said, I was annoyed the first bit because I was like, oh, here we go. Like, is this going to be a series where we're the better team and then we just don't get the goal? We can't score. And then 3 minutes into overtime, Jacob Slavin with honestly one of the softest shots from the point ever to go in. I was like, okay. I didn't jump. Part of it is probably because I got the notification on my phone before I actually saw it on the TV, which I hate.
Oh well, yeah, I was about to, that just ruins the moment, bro. You gotta put the phone down for that. Just put the phone away.
I mean, I had it in my hand.
Because you know there's a delay when you're watching it live.
But usually they've gotten better about it. Usually it's not instant. Like this was like a 30-second, 45-second lag.
Ooh.
Usually like my TV has like a 5 to 10-second lag before the message or before the tweet or whatever comes out. Yeah, no. This time it like came out and I had to wait another like 20 seconds to see what happened.
Yeah, no, that would have pissed me off, especially if I'm watching the game and like I've sat and watched the entire game.
Yeah,
then I just know the outcome 20 seconds beforehand. No, that would have pissed me off.
So like I'll say like I felt bad because I wasn't as excited for like it happening in real time. No, if the Hurricanes make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, I'm locking my phone away because the things that I would say on social media to whatever team we're playing, which is not good. Had a banger of a tweet about New Jersey this morning. Go check that out.
You might say something that even Elon will kick you off for.
There was a tweet. There was a tweet out there saying they like to keep it in the family in North Carolina from a New Jersey Devils fan, and I definitely fact checked them about the two states that allow family love, let's say, in the United States.
I saw.
So that it was a banger for those of you that like it. All right, that's all I got.
I got no notes.
All right, make sure you follow us on social media at Boneyard Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, at the Boneyard Podcast on TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's Spotify, Apple, iHeart, whatever. Leave us a review. 5 stars. Anything less, already tell them what to do.
Watch the damn play.
Damn right. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Yeah, we're out.
Hey, as always, Pirate Nation, I will catch y'all next week in beautiful, sunny San Diego. But wash your hands, wash your butts. Deuce.
Go damn Pirates.